Chapter 4 Oscorp Tower, home to one of the most powerful companies in the world. I never thought in my life I would come here to work here. We enter the building and we walk to the receptionist. Welcome to Oscorp Tower, how can I? She opens her eyes. Mr. Osborne, you're back. Hello Linda, yes, I just got back a few hours ago. What brings you here, sir? Is my father here? She nods. Yes, Mr. Osborne is in his office, he just got done with a meeting. She looks at me. Sir, is this young man with you? Ah yes, says Harry as he pulls me closer. I want to get my best friend here introduced to my father for an interview. She is surprised after hearing that. Oh, then welcome to Oscorp Tower, you two are free to go and I wish you luck in the interviews, sir. Thank you. Linda, was it? She chuckled. He's cute. Well, I assume you remember how to get to his office. Harry nods. Come on, Pete. He walks towards the elevator and I follow as the workers nearby notices Harry's return. We made our way to the top floor and we walk around the hallways surrounded by artwork of the city. I can't believe all these years and I finally meet your dad. Yeah, well, I guess since you were by my side when mom was homeschooling me, dad was very busy, so I guess it made sense, but doesn't matter as now you get to meet him. He says as we're outside of his office, just be cool and yourself, alright? I took a deep breath. Alright, and we opened the door and entered the office. A man was standing towards the window and turned to us. He had a similar look to Harry where they had ginger hair, but Mr. Osborne has his hair slicked back and stubble beard. He was wearing a black suit with a green tie and shoes. His sleeves were rolled up. The man approached us. Harry, my boy, welcome home. He hugged Harry and let go. How was Japan? Did you have a safe trip back? Harry nodded. It was great, and yes, the jet made it easy for me to return home. Harry's father looked at me. Son, who is he? Oh, sorry Pete, I almost forgot. Father, I like you to meet Peter Parker, my best friend and the smartest guy I know. It's an honor to meet you, sir, truly. The man laughed. So you're Peter. After many years I finally got to meet you. Since we basically know each other personally, you can call me Norman. It is an honor too, my boy. Welcome to Oscorp Tower. She offers an handshake and I shake it. So what brings you here? Actually, I came here for an interview. Norman chuckles. Haha, so you want to become an Oscorp employee? Well, from what Harry told me years ago, you do show great potential. Really? Yes, I brilliant mind like you should not go to waste. Instead, it should be useful to us, creating a better future for the city, even for the world. So is that a yes, Dad? Yes, Peter can work for me. Luckily I do have a spot for you. It's nothing big, but it should be a great start for you. So today we'll give you a tour and tomorrow will be your first day. I nod. I won't let you down. I truly hope so. Hey Harry. Yes, Father. How about you head home? Your mother is dying to see you. Harry nods. Good luck, Pete. And I watch Harry leave the room. All right, follow me, Mr. Parker, says Norman, and I follow him. Chapter 5. As I keep following Norman Osborn, we head down the elevator to one of the floors. I look around and see the technology they are working with. One of them looks like robotics and the other like genetics, and we approach a blonde long-hair man wearing a lab coat, but his right hand and sleeve is gone. Dr. Connors, says Norman, and the scientists turn around. Mr. Osborne, how can I help you? Norman grabs my shoulder. This young man will be an employee starting tomorrow. I have assigned him to be your assistant. Good, I could use some assistance. He offered his left hand for a handshake. Dr. Kurt Connors, I look forward to working with you, young man. I shake his hand. Peter Parker, it's an honor meeting you. Norman chuckled. All right, Kurt, I want you to give him a warm welcome and give him a tour. He looks at me. I better get going, you behave yourself. Then he leaves. Dr. Connors talks to get my attention. Please join me, I'll show you around. I nod and follow Dr. Connors. So what are you guys working on? Well, this floor is split into 2 projects, but it's aiming towards the future of humankind. I mostly focus on genetic evolution, while my rival over there, he points at the scientist across the floor, as it's designed where the hallway is in the center and 2 rooms on each end. Dr. Otto Octavius is focused on robotic evolution. Wait, why don't you guys just team up to work on it if you guys are focused on the same goal? Well, our methods of doing it are complicated. Then Dr. Connors showed me his work area and I look at the monitors and he said, "We're studying reptiles, especially lizards." Okay, but how's that going to help? Well, I plan to create a formula so people can regrow their limbs like for soldiers or cops. I raise my eyebrows. You think it will work? Of course, here, come take a look. Dr. Connors shows me his data so far. I look at it and seems that he made good progress. Wow, very impressive. Connors chuckle. Thank you, Peter, and with your assistance I know one day we will be able to finish the project. Well, that's a lot, but I'll try my best. Your best is all I need. I asked, so what inspired you to do this? Spider-Man, what did he get to do with this? Think about it, Peter, with those powers he must have gotten it from a spider's DNA. If he can do it, why not with other creatures? I guess you have a point. Connors nods. Anyway, I would like some assistance with something. Some hours later, after assisting Dr. Connors, I put a box down. And I think that's the last one. Oh, thank goodness, I said, pretending it was heavy. Connors checked the clock on the wall. Well, my shift's done for the day. Oh, what should I do? Well, you're done for the day too, so you're free to go home tomorrow, or if you're interested, go meet Dr. Octavius and learn what he's working on. Well, whatever you choose, have a good night. Dr. Connors leaves and I decides to the other side of the floor while Dr. Octavius was working on something, mostly a robotic arm. I cough. Excuse me. The man got jumpy. Oh, hello there. He pulls his goggles up. Oh, you're the new employee. I saw you with Dr. Connors. You must be his new assistant. I nod. Yes, I'm Peter Parker and you must be Dr. Octavius, right? He nods. I see that Connors told you about me. Mostly what your goal in this floor. I was curious what you are working on. Dr. Octavius got excited by what I said. Ah, yes, I'm so glad you asked, Mr. Parker. Here, come take a look at this. He gives me a robotic arm. Whoa, this thing looks so cool. Haha, I knew you would like it. This is my idea for the future prosthetic arms, but I thought it was a thing. Well, yeah, but those don't really work well. I'm actually talking about replacing your body part with a metal one. My eyes widened by the idea. Voluntarily, right? Of course, Peter only knows people who have already lost their body parts, or if they choose, but I won't force anybody. Interesting. He stands up and gives me a tour on the devices he working on as he shows his little prototypes. Then I saw something on the table. What's this? Ah, that was my original project before the prosthetics. I call it the realistic holopal. Like a hologram. He nods. Yes, what it's supposed to do is summon a holograph that looks like you and does whatever you command. It was also supposed to hold objects like a real person, but unfortunately I never found out how to make it work. It interested me and he said, "Keep it." You sure? He nods. Think of it as a souvenir. Thank you, doctor. I put in my pocket and think to myself, maybe I could at least try to build it. It might be useful for Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Then I talk again. It seems you are really sure of this robotic prosthetics. Indeed, and think about it, won't be just the arms but have the ability to weaponize them. Imagine the police having them to protect our city better. I agree, maybe it could be useful, but in my opinion maybe try not to make them too dangerous, otherwise they will lose more body parts. The human body is very sensitive. He nods and stands up. I'm sorry to cut our talk short, Mr. Parker. I got to get some supplies for tomorrow. Have a good night. He leaves and I put the arm down and head home. As I made it inside, my mom looks at me angrily. Where have you been, young man? I rub my neck. I was out doing something important. It better be important. I've been trying to call you. You have me worried. Sorry, I was busy. I went to Oscorp. It surprised her. OS cop, why did you go there? Well, do you remember Harry? She nods. He returned home and he convinced his father to hire me. Her eyes widened. Norman Osborn hired you? Well, yes, my first day is tomorrow and I'll head there after school. She hugs me tightly. My boy has become a scientist. I'm so proud of you. I gasp for air. Mom. Too much, please. She lets go. Oh, sorry, Peter, we should celebrate. Really? Yes, it's a big thing, sweetie. I rolled my eyes. Okay. She got excited. Follow me to the car. I know a restaurant you would like to eat. She exited the apartment and so did I. Chapter 6. Many hours later, in my room. I was working on the device that Doc October gave to me, which was the realistic holopole device. It was a very hard task. Luckily with Oscorp Tech it actually was helpful. And that should do it. I wiped the sweat off my forehead. Let's test this out. To activate the device I have created a wrist remote with 2 buttons for on and off. I turn on the device and the device hovers and gets covered by a blue real-size hologram of me, and then as the hologram took form it changed color to what I look like right now, as it works with whatever I'm wearing and how I look. It can also talk. Hello, Peter. My eyes widened. Wow, it worked. It's like a clone. Huh, I guess you're right. Oh right, let's test this. I give the hologram a notebook and test if he can touch objects, and it worked. Aha, yes. Very impressive, me, says the hologram, and they ask, so what's my job? Alright, and I think as it's created to be loyal to me and take orders. After school you'll take my place at working in Oscorp while I can be Spider-Man and save lives. I hope it doesn't bother you. The hologram shook his head. Not at all. If that's my purpose then so be it. Besides I'm not made for combat anyways. I nod. Smart me. Alright, I best get some sleep, so. Good night. The hologram chuckles. Good night, boss. I chuckle and turn the device off and head to bed. The next morning at the high school I headed to my locker and opened it, but something came out of it. It was a letter and I was scared of it because I have no idea if it's a threat or a love letter, but I opened it. It says, "Hello there, my little nerd. I think it's time we get to know each other, don't you think? I'm enjoying this little staring game of ours. Let's start with my name. It's Felicia Hardy, and I hope over time I get to know you a little more. I love the mysterious white-haired girl you kept calling me." The letter ends with a kitty on it. I blush after reading it and say, there's no way it can be real, right? Then I heard a voice, like what I send you, my little nerd. I got startled and flustered, but she giggled and walked away. I decided to head to class, which was history. I sit down on my seat and Felicia is in this class and she sits next to me and I try to look away. No need to be shy, little nerd. She giggles, then the teacher talks. All right, is everyone seated? Good. The man introduces himself as I don't recognize him from last year. He says, judging by your looks you don't recognize me. That's because I'm your new history teacher. My name is Martin Lee, but please call me Mr. Lee and I will be your history teacher, Martin Lee, huh? Meanwhile, at an electronics company called B&T Electronics, a bald man is working on some jetpack-like contraction. The bald man says, all right, let's test it. So the bald man wraps the device around his chest and activates it. When he activated it, he started to float. Whoa, whoa, he said, feeling a little frightening, but then his fear went away and he started to fly. The bald man screams in happiness. I did it, haha, I actually did it. I have to show it to George. He flies down and heads to Gregory's office. Greg, I finally did it. He went silent as nobody was in the room. He saw papers on his desk and took a look at them. What is this? He looked at them. They're all about his business being sold to Oscorp. Gregory enters the office and realizes what's happening. Adrian, who revealed to be the bald man, looked at him in anger. You sold our company. I know this looks bad, but I can explain. But Adrian grabs him by the throat, choking him. Explain yourself. Listen, ever since you worked on this project our funding has gone low. We were going to go bankrupt. I had to sell it. All you care about was money, you selfish man. Adrian, please. But Adrian choked him until he stopped breathing and let go. Gregory. Hey, get up. But he wasn't getting up and he looked at his hands. The harness, it made me stronger than before, haha. Then he looks at the papers again. I have to do something or else my life's work will go to waste. Then he got an idea. I'll just force Osborne to cancel the contract, and I think I know how, he says with a grin on his face. Meanwhile, class ended and I'm walking towards my locker, but I heard something. Catch this, Parker, says Flash as he threw a water balloon at me, but Felicia, being sneaky, walked like nothing was happening and walked in front of me, getting hit by a water balloon. Flash realized what he did as Felicia looked at him in an angry face. Crap, he says, and ran away. I looked at Felicia as her face is wet from water. Are you all right, Felicia? It's my fault. She shook her head. Are you all right, little nerd? She says as she winks at me, and I realize she did that on purpose and I blush. Yes, I'm fine, thank you. She touched my face with her hands and smiles. I'm glad. Have a good night, she says as she walks off. A few minutes later I ran towards an alleyway. All right, this should be fine. He activates the hologram with his right device and it turns on, showing another me. Hello, Peter. Hey, today is your first day on the job. You ready? The hologram nods. I'm ready. I'll head to Oscorp immediately. Good. Now if anything goes wrong I program you to have my number. Okay. The hologram gives me a thumbs up and leaves. I sighed. I hope this works, I say as I undress, where my costume is underneath my clothes, and I put my clothes in my bag with everything set up. I put on my mask and started swinging. Chapter 6. My hologram goes to enter Oscorp. He walks towards the receptionist and she notices him. "Ah, Mr. Parker, I'm glad to have you with us, ready for your first day." He nods. "Yes, is Dr. Connors already here?" She nods. "Yes, he's looking forward to your first day." "Oh, almost forgot here." She gives him my Oscorp employee ID card. "Make sure you keep this safe, okay?" she says with a smile. Then the hologram takes the badge and heads to the elevator, and as he enters it he thinks to himself, "I wonder how Spider-Man is doing." The elevator door closes. Meanwhile, a high-speed chase is happening where a criminal is driving a truck with weapons inside. He rams the trucks, passing every car nearby. "Get out of the way, fools." Meanwhile, I'm swinging around doing tricks and I heard the police radio on my headset. "All units, I request backup on a high-speed chase." Looks like it's my turn. I dive down and swing towards the vehicle. The driver noticed me. "Oh crap, it's Spider-Man." He knocks on the back of the vehicle wall of the driver's seat. "Hey, lose him now." Then two guys come out the back of the vehicle with guns, start firing at me, but my spider sense helped me dodge them. "Whoa fellas, let's not get rough." I landed on top of the police car. The officer noticed me. "Be careful, Spider-Man, there are tons of firearms in that truck." "Wait, what?" Then a guy fires a rocket at me, but my spider sense warned me and I jumped and web grabbed the rocket and threw it into the air, causing it to explode but didn't hit anything. Then I web grabbed the truck and pulled my web, so I tackled the rocket launcher guy and made it inside the truck and beat up the guys. Once they're down, I jump out and use my webs to close the doors and web it shut. Then I swing into the passenger seat. "Hello there." The driver aims his gun at me, but I grab his head and slam his head into the steering wheel until he gets lightheaded and web his head to the wheel and pull his leg off the paddle and web the brakes, causing the truck to stop. When it stopped, I exited the car and took a deep breath. "Man, who were those guys? I better get out of here." I swing away. Meanwhile, Adrian is getting suited up in a red and green vulture outfit with helmet and claw boots, and he took flight heading towards Oscorp. Meanwhile, Norman Osborn is at his office looking at his computer and a file on his desk that says SHIELD on it with a bird logo. He decided to take a break and look out the window, but as he does, he saw some sort of humanoid bird on it that charged through his window and slammed Norman to the wall. "Osborn, we need to talk." "Who the hell?" Then Norman press a button he grabbed from his bottom and the loudspeaker goes off. "Warning, lockdown engaged. This is not a drill." Meanwhile, the hologram Peter is with Dr. Connors at his lab as the window's been shut with metal doors. "What's going on, Drive?" he asked. Then Connors goes on his laptop and check the cameras because apparently DRS have clearance to use them, and Connors look at the camera to Norman's office and see him getting attacked. "Oh no, Mr. Osborn," says Dr. Connors. "What do we do?" asked the hologram. "We just have to hold on, the cops will be on their way." The hologram thinks to himself, "Not good enough. Need Spider-Man for this," so he calls Peter from his head. Meanwhile, while swinging, he got the phone call. "Hey, how's your first day going?" "Good, but that's not important. Listen, someone broke into Norman's office, some bird-looking guy. You have to stop him before he kills him." I nod and hang up and swing my way to Oscorp Tower. At Oscorp Tower, he's outside of Norman's office, but his window is covered by metal wall, so I decided a terrible idea. This might hurt, so I slingshot off from the wall into the wall, breaking through the metal door, leaving Adrian shocked. "What the hell?" "Excuse me, Christmas vulture, but this guy isn't dead." I fire my web at him, but he cut it with his green and red wings. Oh, that just happened. My spider sense goes off, but Adrian slams my head to the metal wall. "Vulture, huh? I think I'll keep that name." The vulture looks at my web shooters as I try to get him off my throat. "So that's how you swing webs? Interesting. I wonder if you swing without it." He forced to pull my web shooters off my wrist, then all of a sudden Norman hit him in the head with a metal bat, which caused the vulture to drop me. "Run, Spider-Man!" But the vulture scratched Norman on the chest with his wing. It caused Norman to bleed, drop his button that caused the lockdown. The vulture crushed the bottom, shutting down the lockdown, causing the metal doors to open. I saw Norman, "Stay strong, Mr. Osborn," but the vulture charged at me and he flew me to the air while holding my throat. I try to get him off, but he says, "Goodbye, Spider-Man." Then he let me go, causing me to fall. Crap, crap, crap. Out of instinct I tried to use my webs, but all of a sudden a sharp pain from my wrist and webs came out of my wrist, ripping a hole in my gloves, but the webs catch the building. It worked. I used the opportunity to climb back up. Meanwhile the vulture gets close to Norman. "All right, where were we?" But a web catches his back and gets pulled out of the office, but the vulture flies again and sees me. "Why won't you stay out of it, bug? That's arachnid to you, bird. I won't give up until I put you in your cage." The vulture gets angry and chases after me, but I swing to the roof. The bird landed on the ground of the roof with me and he kept trying to attack me, but my spider sense helped me dodge them. "Hold still and die." "Nope, come catch me," I said as I jumped off and swung while the vulture followed in anger. While I kept swinging I thought to myself, "Good, I got his attention, now let's find a way to get rid of him. Think, Parker, think. I gotta trap him like prey." So I kept swinging, and while he wasn't looking I took a turn, leaving the vulture losing me. The vulture looks around for me, but I run on the other side of the building and jump towards the back of the vulture. "Wait, what are you doing?" I rip his helmet off and web his entire face. The vulture tries to get it off, but I rip his wings off and grab both of his hands and web them on his back like handcuffs and jump off of him and swing. I saw a nearby police station, so I went there and created a giant web that is connected by the surrounding building near the station. After that I head back to the vulture as he tries to escape his webbed up self, but I landed on his back and slingshot him, so he goes face first into the giant web, causing him to get stuck. The vulture tries to talk, but the web on his face causes him only to mumble, "Sorry, Birdbrain." The spider just caught his prey. Two cops at the station exit the building, then notice the giant web, and I wave at them and they waved back. I swing back to Norman's office to grab my web shooters. As I enter back to the office I see Norman Osborn being healed by the paramedics and a doctor while he was in a wheelchair. The paramedics got startled as they saw me enter, but Norman calmed them down and said, "It's all right, just Spider-Man." "What happened to the vulture?" "He's arrested now," I said while putting my web shooter in my backpack. "Thank you, Spider-Man." I stand up. "No problem, just doing my job, Mr. Osborn." Norman start feeling light. "How are you feeling, Mr. Osborn?" "We managed to cover the cut," asked the doctor. "A little tired, Doc." The doctor nodded. "We're going to close the building for the rest of the day. You need to head home." "But Doc, I am busy." "No excuse, we're taking you home." "All right." The paramedics took Norman out of the office. As I was ready to leave, I saw the shield file on his desk and I got flashbacks because I've seen it before, but from where? I decided to take the file with me and swing out of here. I went to an alleyway nearby where my hologram was waiting for me. I guess they closed it for the rest of the day. The hologram nod. Yep, pretty short for your first day. So how did it go? Pretty well. I made some progress with the doctor and nobody suspect a thing. Oh, and here. He gives me my ID badge. I won't be able to hold it after I am put away. I nod. Good work. I turn the hologram off and I swing home. Chapter 7. As I made it home at night, I'm in my civilian clothes. My web shooters are on the table and I examine my wrist. My wrist now has a gap on it almost similar to how my web shooters work. Even my hand now has a web mark that tells me where to press. As I looked at it, I said, "What's happening to me? This never happened before." It seems it works just like my web shooter. It even dissolves after 1 hour. There's no way I gained organic webbing like a spider. I look at my web shooters and decide to hide them in my closet. I guess I won't be needing you guys anymore. As I put them away, I sit on my bed and think, how I know of all times. I mean, it responded when I needed it the most. I could have fallen to my death if it wasn't for it. Could my powers be evolving? There's no other explanation. I realize something. I think to myself, what if I awaken more powers? That could be interesting. I lay down on my bed, but the police radio goes off on my phone. All units, we got report of a 5-man robbery in Hell's Kitchen. I groan and leave my room by window with my backpack and head outside. The next morning in school, I was asleep in history class. Mr. Lee is in the middle of teaching and notices I am asleep while Felicia is paying attention while taking a look at me, as she thinks to herself, "My poor little nerd probably didn't sleep enough, but you're actually cute when asleep." Mr. Lee approach me, "Mr. Parker, are you awake?" But all he hears is snoring, so he slams the ruler on the table, waking me up, causing my glasses to fall off me face. "I am awake, I am awake." Mr. Lee chuckles, "Okay, if you're awake, answer this. In the Civil War, why did it started?" Easy. Due to the deep divisions between the North and South regarding the issue of slavery, with the South wanting to preserve slavery and the North seeking to restrict its expansion, ultimately leading to the secession of Southern states and the outbreak of war to maintain the Union. Mr. Lee smirks. "That's correct, Mr. Parker. Surprising work. Just try not to sleep again." Mr. Lee walks away while the class laughed at me. Then Mr. Lee continues his lesson as Felicia grabs my glasses from the table. "Here, you forgot this." She puts my glasses back on me. "There we go, there's my little nerd." I blush and look away. "Thank you," she giggles after I said that. Eventually class ended and I walked the hallway until I saw Harry. "Hey Pete, how's class?" "Harry, what are doing here?" "Yeah, when I came back, Dad made me transfer here until I graduate, so it looks like we're going to be juniors together." We both laugh to that, but Harry continues, "Oh right, speaking of, would you mind helping me catch up? I got a test coming up in my class and I could use your help." I nod. "Sure, when do you want to study?" Harry thinks to himself for a second and says, "How about 1 hour after school?" "Yeah, sure." The bell rings. "I'll see you later, Pete," says Harry, and we head to our next class. Some time passes and school ended and I exited the school and I heard a voice. "Wait, little nerd." I turn and saw Felicia sitting down, then gets up and approached me while eating an apple. "Oh hey. Say, can you do me a 2-second favor?" "What is it?" Can I borrow your phone? Nothing serious, sure. I give her my phone and she grins as she puts my number on her phone and give it back to me. She whispers in my ear, I'll call you, then she walks away and waves, leaving me flustered. What just happened? 1 hour later, after sending my hologram to work, I head to Harry's home, which is on top of a penthouse tower. I enter and see the receptionist. Hello young man, how can I help you? Oh my days, is that Peter Parker man? How long has it been? I chuckle. Hey Sam, well, since Harry left for Japan he wants me to meet him so I can help him catch up in high school. He nods. Yes, you're free to enter. I'm sure Mrs. Osborne would be happy to see you. I nod and I head to the elevator and head to the top floor and knock on the door, and Harry immediately opened it. Pete, welcome, please come in. He lets me in and I look around. Wow, this place hasn't changed much. Yeah, I guess Mom been keeping the place clean, but it's kinda scary to think about if Dad been keeping her company while I was away. I'm sure he has. Harry nods to that. Do you wanna see her? I nod and we head to the kitchen. As we entered the kitchen I saw Emily Osborne, Harry's blonde hair mom, who is busy painting as I remember it was her hobby. Hey Mom, I brought someone. She looked away from the painting and saw me. Oh my Peter, is that you? I giggle. Hi Emily. She puts her stuff down and hugs me tightly. You've grown so much, I miss you. Harry chuckles, happy to see his mom happy, then she lets go of me. Oh sorry Peter, it's okay. So what brings you here? Surely not to see me, hee. Harry says, well, since I transfer Midtown, Peter is going to help me study. I nod and she smiles. Thank you Peter, I want to see you both graduate. I heard Noman hired you. Yeah, how is he doing? By the way, I was on a different floor so I had no idea what happened to him. Oh, he's fully recovered. You should have seen him when he woke up. He started cuddling me. How romantic of him. Harry gets embarrassed. Mom, but she giggling. Sorry Harry, I couldn't help but talk about it. Now off you two go. Studying is more important than talking to me. So we both went to Harry's room and I saw the place is fully covered in Japan-like stuff all over. Wow, this is completely different from what I remembered. I see you were busy. I said as Harry taking out his notes. Well, I kinda already miss being there so I thought this would help. I nod. It's okay, I hear cool things about it. Well, should we get started? I nod and I begin helping Harry study. The chapter ends as the police radio goes off and says all units, we captured the Black Cat. Suspect name is Walter Hardy. Meanwhile at Alchemax, my mother has arrived at the place to meet her boss Tyler Stone. Mr. Stone, I have what you need, she says as she gives him the papers he wanted. Good work Mrs. Parker. Actually now you're here I need you to follow me. I got an important meeting to go to and I need you with me. She nods and follow him to the meeting and she stands next to Stone. Stone begins speaking to the board. Hello everyone, today I would like to make an announcement. I will be standing down as CEO. Everyone is shocked, even my mother is. But sir, says my mom. But nothing Mary, I'm retiring, so with my retirement I picked 2 people to be my replacement. Please come in. Then 2 people came in. A young blonde-haired girl is wearing a black suit while the other is a big bald guy in a white suit, black shirt and purple tie. Then Stone continues. The man before you is Wilson Fisk. Now as you know, he was released from prison, but while he was away Fisk Industries was destroyed, so because of how his company used to be a massive help for us when I founded this company, I thought he was worthy of this opportunity. I thank you kindly for chance, Mr. Stone. Stone nods. Yes, but this will be your only chance, otherwise my adoptive daughter, her Liz Allen, will take your place permanently, and if anything happens to her you're done. Fisk nods and Stone says, well, I put this company in your hands, Mr. Fisk, for now. Good luck everyone. Meeting's over. After he said that, he leaves with Liz and Fisk approach my mom. Say, if I remember, you're CO's assistant, right? She nods. Then can you take me to my office? She nods again. Right this way, sir, she says, and Fisk follows.